In a world full of diverse people and cultures, we are all united by our humanity. But what exactly makes us human? The ideology of what makes a living being human is widely debated. Are we just a mass of cells moving through space, or are we distinct individuals with souls and meaning? If we really are just a mass of cells, when do we graduate from cell to human life? Or should that cell already be considered human? Questions like these have been asked since the beginning of history, yet there still is, and likely will never be, a definite answer. This dilemma is the underlying rationale for the debate over the morality of abortion. Philosopher Marianne Morin delves deeper into the morality of abortion in her excerpt on the moral and legal status of abortion. Morin analyzes what exactly distinguishes an entity from a human being, along with how the rights of this entity weigh against the rights of established human beings. But what makes someone human? It has been established by our moral community that it is wrong to take a human life. According to a moral sense, a human being is defined as a full-fledged member of the moral community. When looking at the genetic sense, any member of the moral community that is of the species Homo sapiens is classified as a human being. But is a fetus a human being? Some may argue that a fetus is a living being, but regardless if it is considered a human being or not, a fetus is an innocent being, which leads us to ask ourselves if it is wrong to terminate a fetus's life. A fetus does not have the capacity for developing rational thought, which is a key factor in the determination of personhood. Morin believes that a moral community is only compromised by people and not all human beings, which can be further explained by the concept of personhood. Morin developed 5 traits of personhood that are used to differentiate an entity from a person. The first trait is consciousness. This incorporates awareness of one's surroundings and having the ability to feel pain. The second trait, reasoning, is the capability of one to solve problems. Third is self-motivated activity. This refers to an individual's ability to think and make decisions for themselves, without the influence of outside forces. Fourth is the capacity to communicate. This mode of communication entails one's ability to form opinions and express them through any means. Lastly, Morin developed the presence of self-concepts and being self-aware. Morin emphasized, however, that it is not necessary for an entity to possess all 5 traits, and that the presence of just some may be enough to classify an entity as a person. It should be obvious that a being lacking all 5 traits is clearly not a person, but rather a being with genetic humanity. It is also important to recognize that full moral rights are only attained by people, but the idea of a person is a part of a moral concept. Genetic material alone cannot constitute an entity as a person. Warren states, some human beings are not people, and there may be people who are not human beings. She compares this to the concept of a person that has lost brain capacity. If a person has permanently lost consciousness, they no longer have any brain capacity as they are brain dead. Although this human being is still technically alive, they do not have the same capacities that a person does, and it is highly unlikely that they will ever regain them. The state that a brain-dead person is in is similar to that of a fetus. They are both considered human beings with the potential to become a person, but at this point in time are not. It is evident that the human being, either fetus or brain-dead being, does not have full mental capacity or full moral rights at this point. It is evident that a fetus is not a person and is unacceptable to give it full moral rights and obligations. Whenever the rights of a potential person and an actual person conflict, the rights of the actual person greatly outweigh the rights of the potential person. Therefore, it is evident that the rights of a woman outweigh the rights of a fetus. Even though a fetus is not considered a person, it still has a right to life. The overarching question regarding the right to life is, how far advanced in conception does a human being need to be before it begins to have a right to life? Although a fetus may have a heartbeat, it may not have the ability to sustain life outside of the womb. It can be questioned if that fetus is considered a person if its life is dependent on another. Those who support life at the point of conception value the fetus's human potential rather than the fetus's current state. When a fetus is developmentally able to survive outside of the womb, the case for the fetus's right to life enters a gray area. Many of those who support pro-choice decisions question themselves once the fetus can survive on its own. In late-term development, a fetus displays some of the traits of personhood. In the final trimester, a fetus has distinguished characteristics that are similar to that of an infant. While the fetus may display similarities to a breathing child, the fetus is not able to reason or communicate messages, nor display self-awareness. However, at this point, the fetus does have the ability to feel pain and regulate some form of consciousness. These arguments converge toward the idea of regulating how far into a pregnancy a woman can choose to terminate. Placing restrictions on termination periods cannot be dependent on a mother's safety, as the procedure has become much safer as a result of new technologies and techniques. These constraints, however, do not make late-term abortion morally excusable. The right to choose whether the law can ban the procedure of performing an abortion should be an undebated topic. It is a woman's body and a woman's choice to decide what she wants to do with her body. If a fetus is dependent on the life of a mother to survive, it should be up to the mother to decide what is best for both of their futures. While a woman should have full control over her body, the debate on whether a fetus displays the characteristics of personhood can alter the argument, as that a fetus may display wide similarities to that of a living, breathing child. With still such political controversy regarding the details of abortion, it is essential that those who can make the choice of whether to terminate the pregnancy are able to do so at their free will, without the influence of political leaders. The debate of choice should be the choice of the mother, not the choice of societal pressure.